When discussing The Dark Knight, it's way too easy to lose yourself exploring the genius of Heath Ledger's Joker performance or how Bale became the Bat. Arguably, these are two of the strongest comic book portrayals on the silver screen, yet everyone always seems to bypass Two-Face. And if you took the time to look at The Dark Knight, you'd realize that a lot of the real narrative power comes from Aaron Eckhart's Harvey Dent. It's not as flashy or chaotically quotable as Ledger's Joker, but it's still really interesting to peer past all that burnt flesh and see what a truly outstanding performance it was. With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 little-known ways Aaron Eckhart made Nolan's Two-Face awesome. Number 8. He studied split personalities. It's impossible to discuss what Eckhart did right with Two-Face without first mentioning everything Tommy Lee Jones did wrong with it in Batman Forever. His Two-Face suffered from Joel Schumacher's complete disregard from the source material, ending up as little more than a reskinned version of Jack Nicholson's Joker. One of the central missing elements was the duality of Dent and Two-Face. In contrast, Eckhart actually studied the psychology behind his character, with particular focus on split personalities, and although Harvey Dent and Two-Face aren't the typical dual personality, this helped him get into the right mental state for the character's third act. Number 7. He viewed Two-Face as Harvey's wish fulfillment. The danger with putting Harvey Dent's transition to Two-Face in just one film was that the transformation could look lacking in characterization. Of course, this wasn't an issue in The Dark Knight because of how Eckhart plays Dent through the first half of the film. He may be Gotham's chance at a legitimate savior, but just as The Dark Knight isn't a bad guy, neither is the White Knight a fully good guy. In this, Dent has hidden ideological flaws, and they help make the Joker's point that even the best of us can fall all the more potent. In fact, Eckhart was very keen to explore this aspect of Nolan's Two-Face. When discussing the character's motivations, he said that Harvey's dreamed of doing what he might later be doing as Harvey Two-Face, which turns the subsequent rampage into a sad version of wish fulfillment. Number 6. He read up on all of the comic characters' history. In contrast to films based on novels where actors turn to the source for inspiration, you rarely hear of comic book movie actors poring over the comics, usually because most superhero movies rarely use one particular source. Still, it can help an actor get a character if they do turn to comics, which is exactly what Aaron Eckhart did. He confirmed that he read everything available and researched any gaps he found on Harvey Dent. It certainly helps that he had a good script, but knowing where the character came from would have aided him no end. That's an impressive extent to go to, and it clearly paid off. Number 5. He put the ultimate outcome from his mind. Unless you're in a David Lynch flick, odds are as an actor you're totally aware of where the story's heading because, you've got access to the script. With comic book films or any flicks based on set source material, audiences will know what to expect. Therefore, it's up to an actor to truly convince them that it won't happen to make the delivery of it that much more impactful. So Eckhart truly poured himself into the mold of making it seem through confident, subtle nods and through knowing when to step back from a scene that he couldn't possibly turn in this film. Rather than being a vehicle for Two-Face, he tried his best to make you care about Dent, and went on record to say that he wanted Dent to be remembered as much as the villain. Number 4. No makeup meant that he could actually act. This is one of the few times that I will praise the decision to use CGI over practical effects, as with heavy makeup comes a heavy price, the effect of speech and acting. Having a mouthful of rubber outside of my BDSM meetings is not good for the Queen's English, so giving Eckhart free reign of his expressions is only a good thing. Plus, the CGI used was really well done. Incredibly creepy with the lack of eyelids and all the singed flesh, yet still able to convey anger. This was a fine result from all involved. Number 3. He based Dent on Robert F. Kennedy. With Nolan so keen to ground his heroes in the real world, it's only to be expected that the actors involved would turn to real-life figures for inspiration. For Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart turned to another charismatic politician, Robert F. Kennedy, the younger brother of JFK. Before his death in 1968, he was a popular, well-liked public figure who directly tackled organized crime. But beyond this narrative similarity, Bobby and Dent's personalities and even looks line up in a way that helps boost the latter's authenticity. The Kennedys helped shape how politicians came across, so having Bobby as a touchstone not only helps get into the character's mindset, but makes the whole politics at work in Gotham feel all the more natural. Number 2. He always called the character Harvey Two-Face. Ask any Batman fan what the name of Harvey Dent's alter ego is, and the answer would be a succinct Two-Face. Ask Aaron Eckhart, however, at least in reference to his version, and you'd hear a slightly different answer. Throughout all of the publicity for the film, Eckhart always referred to the murderous side of his character as as Harvey Two-Face. And this isn't him just being pernickety, it shows a real understanding of the character and who exactly he is after his transformation. There's still a part of the old, idealistic Harvey present throughout his rampage. Two-Face is not an all-out monstrous supervillain, but a man pushed too far. And this is helped get across thanks to the actor's investment in this journey. And number 1, the disfigurement doesn't affect Harvey's speech at all. Here's something you probably haven't really noticed in multiple viewings of The Dark Knight, and yet proves essential into making the character work. Although half his face is literally burnt off with no lips and barely any jaw ligaments left, Two-Face talks and acts without a care for his disfigurement. There's no slurring of words or signs of discomfort. But don't think for a second that this was Eckhart slacking in any way. It was a wholly conscious decision made by him and Nolan. In a bid to make the character less over the top and more intimidating, anything remotely showy was played down. It's a good thing too. I mean, can you imagine being scared by a Two-Face who can't pronounce the letter M? I didn't think so. In fact, the only moment where he does anything in reaction to his injuries is when he wipes his chin after taking that shot just before killing the detective. And that's enough to get across the medical complications of the whole disfigurement, because Nolan knows his craft and Eckhart knew Harvey Two-Face.
Wasn't that something? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below, and also the people who made this lovely video, they're appearing right here. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to see more content, Jules, then why not look above my head, as there probably is some. I don't know. I can't see it. Until next time.